guys. More news.
Let's talk a little bit about car insurance. Okay, who are you talking to? He sounds hideous. Okay, anyway, so car insurance premiums have exploded recently. You may have noticed if you are paying for car insurance. In fact, the cost of auto insurance, according to a new report in NPR, jumped more than 19% during the year ending in August, while overall inflation was 3.7%, according to the Labor Department. Now, I saw that headline, I was fascinated by it, mostly because I just paid for my car insurance, and I noticed that the premium went up a lot. A lot.
That everyone I know is saying the same thing.
Yeah, and it was weird because I have a clean driving record, my husband has a clean driving record, no tickets, no accidents. We both have depreciating vehicles, we both bought used vehicles. I have a Honda, he's got a Ford. Shouldn't cost a lot to insure our vehicles, let's put it that way. Why did the cost go up when it should have gone down, considering the depreciating value of our cars? Well, NPR wants to basically hide the reason. I don't know if they're doing it intentionally. I feel like this is a problem I've been noticing in most mainstream media outlets when covering stories like these. But I want to give you one other data point to focus on. So, auto insurance premiums have risen 27% since the start of the pandemic, okay? So it's a lot. And for a lot of people, it's a struggle, right? Because car insurance was already expensive. Cost of living is expensive. Premiums going up so much is really just untenable for a lot of people. Now, here's what NPR claims is happening. So they list reasons. One of the reasons they list is that drivers have gotten a lot riskier during the pandemic. Okay, so
Really?
Scott Horsley writes, the number of fatal auto accidents jumped sharply in late 2020 and early 2021, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. While accident rates have since declined, they remain higher than they were before the pandemic, which contributes to the rising cost of insurance. Now, I've seen some people drive recklessly on the road. I mean, we could have cops on the beat to control that situation. There's people like drag racing all over the place in Los Angeles. There's street takeovers all over the place in Los Angeles, and I don't understand how it just kind of happens with anyone really intervening. But, there's solutions to that. So I'll accept that as one of the factors. But there's more. The cost of repairing or replacing a car that's damaged in an accident has also jumped sharply, okay? They say that the cost of repairing or replacing a car that's damaged in an accident has also jumped sharply thanks to snarled supply chains, parts shortages, and a tight labor market. This is my favorite part. A tight labor market that's led to rising wages for auto mechanics. So it's your fault for asking for better pay, higher pay, okay?
Always blame the workers.
Let's blame the workers, okay. And then, of course, they decide to blame climate change for this. So they say natural disasters are also driving up insurance costs. We see a lot of hail damage, says Grace Arnold.
No, that's absurd.
No, I know. This NPR report made me want to pull my hair out, okay? So these are the reasons that they list.
I'm just going to say one quick thing about one of those reasons. When you write the hail line, you have to be embarrassed and then think, wait, what am I doing? Like, there's so much hail in the country that it's driving up car insurance rates? That's preposterous. That's like the craziest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. How much hail could there be? How much damage could it have done to cars that it raised rates by 19.7% or even contributed to it? No, that's absurd. So then, of course, you should be wondering, then what's the real reason that they're hiding?
The real reason, right? Now, you guys might think this is a corporate greed story. It's not. It's a story about how a lot of these outlets, and honestly, this is indicative of a lot of our institutions, whether we're talking about academia or we're talking about media, they are so overwhelmed with lefty thinkers who are absolutely unwilling to tell the truth about things like car thefts, which have sharply increased. Okay, NPR didn't report on this at all. Wasn't one of the factors. So when I noticed my premium going up when it should have gone down, I called my car insurance company. What's going on? And you know what? They told me the truth. A lot of car thefts in your area. a lot of car damage as a result of like catalytic converters being stolen. It's obviously cutting into their profits. It's cutting into their ability to make money because they have to pay out these claims. And so I, as someone who's following all the rules, along with all these other Americans who are following all the rules and doing what they're supposed to do, now have to pay more money for their car insurance so these thieves can do the thieving that they love to do, right? And it's driving me crazy because this is not a system that works. If the left wants to claim that they want to make people's lives better, running cover for thieves who are making our lives worse ain't the way to go. Get mad at me. I don't care. Let me give you the numbers. Been Verified estimates that there were, I'm sorry, that's not the one I want to go to yet. Let's talk about thefts before we get to catalytic converters. Motor vehicle thefts are up about 34% during just the first half of 2023 compared to the same time frame last year. And they are 104% higher than the same period in 2019, the year before the pandemic, says research specialist Ernesto Lopez, who co-authored a Council on Criminal Justice's Crime Trends report. Fascinating. I'm sure that has nothing to do with the premiums going up so significantly, NPR. They can't be, because God forbid they tell the truth. They might get a tiny mob of people on Twitter who might yell at them for reporting accurately what's going on. I'm so sick of this. I can't stand it anymore. Go ahead and get mad. Get mad. This is the reality. I'm sick of having to subsidize criminals and thieves, and that is exactly what's happening here. There's more. I did a long report on catalytic converters. You should check that out. But catalytic converters, luckily, the number of thefts have gone down a little bit. But Been Verified estimates that there were 26,742 catalytic converter thefts in the United States between January and June. Luckily, that's actually down 43% from the same period last year. Only one state saw an increase. Thefts in New Jersey jumped 25%, so sorry, New Jersey. But here's the caveat. Catalytic converter thefts are still nearly 21 times higher than in 2019, before the catalytic converter crime spree began. We pay for that. We subsidize that. And I'm sick of it.
Yeah. So a couple of guys here had their catalytic converters stolen, and it's a
disaster.
It is. It creates a huge expense for you. You got to figure out what to do in the meanwhile. You got to go replace it. Even if you have insurance, then they ding you on the insurance, and then it increases your rates, et cetera, et cetera. So look, guys. So the only thing I'll say is that is a little bit different than that is that the left overall is 2/3 of the country, right? That's chapter 1 of my book. And so they don't want their stuff stolen, and they don't want to pay 20% more. But there are some leftists online that when anyone says, hey, maybe the crime is a problem, they jump down their throats and they go, oh, you're being this or that.
Yeah, come for me.
Yeah.
Come for me.
And by the way, they'll say absurd things like you're being racist. Wait, no. You're being racist and assuming that criminals are minorities. So I don't know what you're talking about. And do you think you're representing all Americans? No, you're saying I don't want to represent all Americans. I don't care if your car insurance went up. I don't care if your stuff was stolen. Well, when you say that, that's not justice for all. You're saying I only care about this specific group. And why? Why is all of your sympathy saved up for the guys who are robbing other people?
Because they think that by engaging in this garbage commentary, they have moral superiority. So take a good hard look at what your moral superiority translates to in the real world. But feel good about yourself. Pat yourself on the back for going ahead and protecting the criminality that we're all subsidizing right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so, guys, is it true that limited resources then creates a situation where people look for opportunity in other places, sometimes the wrong places? Yeah, we've talked about that in the context of the nonsense drug wars that led to a drug industry, et cetera, and it was a rare place for economic opportunity. I've talked about it in the context of people that we knew back in Turkey that lived on the border, and they were poor, and then they had absurd laws about tariffs, et cetera, and they became smugglers out of the need to do it, et cetera, okay? So we understand all that context. But having said that, do not smear all poor people by assuming that they're all going to become criminals and that you're defending the poor by saying that, oh, no, they should be allowed to rob your car and not have any consequences, right? That doesn't make sense, and you're not doing the poor or the lower middle class, et cetera, any favors. They're usually the number one victims of that crime. The number one victims.
Exactly.
And so, and you're being incredibly patronizing and insulting by putting everyone in that same bucket. And a lot of the guys that do this crime, is it like, oh my God, I had no other choices? You see folks walking in brazenly to jewelry stores. You had no choice but to go and to steal from a jewelry store in a brazen way and hurt the people inside. You had no other choice. So, look, that's a disagreement debate we could have with the extreme left, and we could have it all day long, right? But to me, the heart of this story is NPR.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you stating the obvious number one reason for insurance going up? That if you just called an insurance company, they would tell you, right? And so, and if you look at the crime rates, it's obvious. It's obvious.
So
the catalytic converter theft rate going up 21 times, not 21%, 21 times. And you don't think that contributed at all? You didn't even bother mentioning it, but you thought it was that there was too much hail in America that was damaging the cars. No, you have to do honest journalism no matter who yells at you. It doesn't matter if it's the right wing or the left wing. You're supposed to be better than that. And unfortunately, a lot of times in our media, they haven't been.
All right, we're going to take